Okay, how to handle first date nerves if you get nervous before going on dates. It's a normal thing, it's a human thing. Most people do when you're going on the first date because you're nervous that it might not go well, or how you're going to get on with the person, or are they going to like you, and it's just human nature. But with practice and the right mindset and the tips I'll give you today, you can learn to deal with the nerves better, and you can make the nerves work for you rather than against you. So my first tip is about preparation, and these are some obvious things I'm going to say, but maybe some guys might not implement these things. So I really think it's about, if you set a date in the evening, waking up early, and clean your apartment, showering, putting on some nice clothes, grooming, listening to some music. These simple little things, it's great preparation to prepare you to go on the date and handle the nerves and enjoy the date and give it your best shot. So that's really, really important. The next tip is to make life easier for yourself. Is you don't always have to do this, but it helps if you can pick a location, where you're going to go with your date, or at least have a couple of ideas, know some of the places in the area. Example, if you drink, bars, pubs, or if you don't drink, coffee shops. It's good to know these things because it takes pressure off of going on a date and then you not knowing where to go, getting lost, and that just adds more stress and anxiety. The next one for me is even going to the gym. If you can manage to go and do a gym session or do some press-ups at home, some physical fitness. It's good to do fitness anyway, but I find this changes your state, puts you into a good mood, and it gives you that feeling of being fit, and it makes you feel confident. So again, you're going on a date taking that positive energy because you've done positive habits prior to going on a date. So when you get there, you're showing up with positive energy rather than showing up lethargic, down, depressed, miserable, antisocial, and all the above. Yeah, the next tip I would say is to reduce your expectations, because that just puts pressure. Look, you have to accept that it might not go well. The person you're going on a date with might not like you, might not be attracted to you, you might have no chemistry, you might feel the same. So you might like them and they might not like you, or they might like you and you might not have those same feelings for them. So you have to accept that. You have to take that risk, you have to take that chance. That's a really important tip. Another tip is, really understand the consequences of not going, because some people back out of going on dates. I did it in my past as well, so I know what it's like. They get so nervous that they can't deal with the fear, the anxiety, it overwhelms them, and then they cancel the date. I would say try not to do that, because every time you back out, you kind of lose something. You don't grow, you just put the fear off, it's not going to go away. Whereas if you go on the date, you're going to grow. So going on dates equals growth, confidence, especially with things like social anxiety, really, really important. Next tip, like I said, I know I touched on fashion. Wear some clothes that make you feel good, that, as to where you look good in, if that makes sense. And another tip that I really like is, don't be late on the date, or don't be too late, because again, you'll be stressed, rushing. So try and leave wherever you got your date, wherever you're living, leave so you get there on time. I think it's good manners, it's good character to be on time. So some more tips, right? Some more bonus tips is what I've realised is to simplify this problem of worrying about the first date because of the nerves and the anxiety and all the fears that you have about getting awkward, or not being attractive, or not being good enough, or not knowing what to say, or not knowing where to go on the date. You really got to try and control your anxiety and get it relaxed. And I know this is a different thing, but I was watching a Joe Calzaghe interview, who's one of the best, I think it's the best fighter to ever come out of England, one of the best super middleweights of all time, and light heavyweight champion. And he was saying, they asked him, how did you deal with the fear of fighting? And he said, of course you feel fear. He goes, I did feel the fear, but I've been doing it for so many years, you get used to it. And obviously with dating, it's different to fighting, but the fear is the same if it triggers fear and anxiety. And obviously, like, if you went on the first date and you fell in love with that person and got married, and that's brilliant, right? And you spend the rest of your life together, you haven't got to worry about going on dates again. But the reality is a lot of people don't fall in love with the first date that they go on, or it might not last long term. So in that case, you know, for men with anxiety and social anxiety and bad shyness and nerves, it's good to go on several dates so you can get used to it. And that's exactly what I've done. There's no other way you can get around that. You can't overcome a fear by reading about it in a book. You know, there's no other substitute. Things might be little quick fixes to make you feel a little bit better if you read something in a page which gives you some information, but it's not going to translate. It's still not going to, it's physically not getting you there to go to a date, meet a person. Next tip I would say is just try your best to enjoy the date, to be yourself and do the best that you can. And as I said, accept there's going to be some nerves. There always is at the start, but as you settle down, usually, you know, like 30 minutes in, something like that, it starts getting easier. But listen, another tip, if you screw up, if you're a complete mess, totally fine. There's no failure here, because you'll learn from that. I did that when I was younger. I was so nervous on dates to the point where it was uncontrollable. But later on, through experience, I gained more confidence and became more calm. Another tip I'm going to give, I would say eat something before you go on the date. You might not feel like eating a big meal because food will settle your stomach. You know, fruits or whatever food, pasta, whatever works for you. Because I know sometimes when people are nervous, this has happened to me, they get so nervous that they can't eat food. Well, if you can't eat food, try and eat a banana, because you want to have energy going on a date. Dates are all about energy. You know, obviously some people are different, some are more introverted and outgoing, but you know, you're going to meet a new person, and you know, when two people are going to go on a date, they've kind of got a responsibility to make an effort with one another, or at least try. So it can go somewhere. And this is a tip I really like, right? It's projecting into the future. If you're nervous right now, or this date that you've got today or in the future, think about how you're going to feel later on when you come home, when you've been on that date, if that makes sense. You're going to look back and feel proud of yourself for persevering, facing the fear, becoming fearless, and going on the date rather than not going on it, because it's very easy to make an excuse. As I said, people do it. So that's it. I'll give a couple more tips now. I'm going to do a separate video, but in terms of conversation, just keep it simple to begin with. I'll ask a couple of questions, let your date speak, and then listen in, and then pick up on something they say and create a conversation out of it. That's really good social skills. You ask questions, you don't ask loads of questions, a couple of questions about a person, about who they are, what they do, how they feel, what their interests, hobbies are, and then you listen, and then if you catch on to something that you can connect on, you talk about that, and that stops it from going awkward and having an awkward silence and not knowing what to say. And of course, for every question you usually ask a person on a date, generally it's how people work. They will ask you the question back, so that gives more material. So I'm asking you a question, you're answering me, I'm turning that into a conversation, then you're asking me a question, I'm answering that, then you're turning that into a conversation. It's like a tennis game, back and forward, all right? So I'll leave it there. I want to keep this really simple. Try those tips. They'll change your life, all right? Become fearless. I'll see you soon, and let me know in the box below if you've got any other questions on dating, confidence, fear, social anxiety, and I'll share my experiences with you in the next video, all right?